Welcome to the Vegas Voice Celebrity Corner. I'm your host, Evan Davis, and I'll be bringing you a front row seat to behind-the-scenes interviews with performers and entertainers here in Vegas. Today, my guest is a singer, songwriter, actor, and worship leader. Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, thanks.
Bruce Ewing. Welcome, Bruce. How are
Evan.
you?
Doing great.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks. You know, I don't know if people know a little about your background, and I don't know if I know a little about your background, but spend just a minute just to fill in people how when you got here, stuff like that.
Sure. I've been here for 25 years this year. I just passed my 25th anniversary of being here. I came here with a little show called Forever Plaid, and I was going to do that for 3 months, and then I was going to go back to New York, and that I've still not left.
What happened in New York? What were you doing in New York?
I was just auditioning for shows, going from show to show. I had done a bunch of, it was all Broadway music and that sort of thing. And so I was doing national tours and regional theater and dinner theaters, any job I could get. So Las Vegas was another short-term job. They asked me to come for 6 months. I said I didn't want anything to do with Las Vegas. Honest to God, I really thought there were hotels and then tumbleweed. I don't know where I thought people lived, But once I got here, I loved it, and I haven't left, and I'm never leaving.
It's amazing. So many performers that I know came to Vegas just to do one thing. Get that out. I'm going back to New York usually, where theater was, and they ended up staying here.
Yeah. Well, and I know a lot of people that then have left and gone back to New York, and then come back to Las Vegas. Well, yeah, it's a great place to live. We can be creative. We can do things. There is no Vegas Voice, obviously, in New York, but there's not just people saying, hey, let's put together a concert and have a good time celebrating music that we want to do. Everything in New York is expensive, and you just can't be creative like this. But we have so many outlets here that are great, and that's what attracts us all to keep coming back.
Tell everyone about some of your theater credits, because you've done lots of stuff, and so I'm going to just relax for a few minutes while you tell them what you.
Well, bulk of my career, I started doing musicals back in my first professional musical was in '82. So since then, I've just been, thank God, I've been working almost nonstop through the past however many years that is. I think that's like more than 10 or 15 years, right? '82 to now is probably.
20,
way more than 20, 30, 40 years. But so I've done a lot of Broadway shows in dinner theaters. I did national tours of Ziegfeld A Night at the Follies, which was a sort of like an old takeoff of the old Ziegfeld Follies, all old Irving Berlin music, and got to go all over the country with that. I then did national tours with Grand Hotel, national tour of City of Angels, national tour of Forever Plaid, and that's the show that brought me here. But altogether, I think I've done 50-something professional productions.
Wow.
But out of that, many of those are short-term.
Yeah.
So coming to Las Vegas and getting to do Forever Plaid, that was one gig there from 1996 to 2002 in the first run that I did.
Right.
And then went back and did it again. So, but I had other jobs that, you'd get a job for 6 weeks and you'd be happy, Ooh, I got employment for 6 weeks. I don't have to wait tables.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you were in also Phantom.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, so here in Las Vegas, right, I did 2 runs of Forever Plaid. We were at the Flamingo for many years. Then we went to the Gold Coast, and I left that show to go into Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, actually, I saw you in Phantom in one of the shows, and I have this poster with all the actors and the signatures of all of them on there, and you're on there, so it was very exciting.
I did that whole run. Yeah, that was amazing. I was just getting ready. I felt it was time to leave, and I put in my notice at Phantom, and a week later they put in notice that they were shutting down the show in 9 months. So then I took back my notice and I just stayed to the end.
Why do you think shows that are successful close up? Phantom was a successful show. Jersey Boys, a successful show. Yeah. All of a sudden it's like it's gone.
Well, and the sad part with Phantom is we were doing great business, but it all had to do with politics in the office. So it had to do with the London office deciding that Phantom was going to shut down here because they were changing the tour and they wanted to concentrate on the tour. And so they had redone the sets, they had redone some of the concepts of it, which was kind of sad because Hal Prince's creation of Phantom was the best by far forever. But they decided they wanted to shut us down so that people would stop coming to Vegas to see it, and they would go to these theaters all over the country. Wow. So we were doing great here, but London wanted something different, so we lost out.
Jeez. You have some other shows coming up now that you want to talk about, don't you?
Yeah, well, I'm doing one with Vegas Voice in Saturday, October 16th.
Right.
So, and this one we're having a ball. That's part of the thing I was telling you about earlier. We love doing things with you because you give us free reign to create a show. And it's just so much fun for us because it's just stuff that we normally wouldn't get a chance to do. So we called this show that we're doing in October Tgif. And that's to mark 4 composers that we're going to celebrate in this show. The first one is Tom Lehrer, who a lot of people don't know him, but he's T for Tom Lehrer. And he is one of the funniest songwriters ever. And so he's had Broadway shows, and he's got a real great cult following. But it's not the regular standard musicals, but it's really, really funny material. Okay. So we're going to hit on him for T. G is George Gershwin, who is, through the 20s and 30s. He was a great musical theater writer and movie writer. Unfortunately, he died at the age of 39, so who knows what would have happened with him if he had lived a full life. But his music is great, and so many people know the music of Gershwin. I is Irving Berlin, who's written so many great musicals. And in his heyday, he was the big musical theater writer before and through the career of Rodgers and Hammerstein. And then F is Frank Lesser, who is, you would know him more from like How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, Guys and Dolls, Most Happy Fella. So what we're going to do is it's going to be Kevin Patriquin and Brenda Mondebach and myself being accompanied by the great Philip Fortenberry on piano, which that's, we like to just come in on his coattails, because if he sits down at the piano, everything else is,
just gravy.
Everything falls into place. So it's the 4 of us putting this together, and we're just having a ball and can't wait to share this music. And it'll just be very fun, laid back, energetic, lots of songs that everybody knows and makes you feel good, and we're looking forward to that.
I know. I'm looking forward to that too. I can't wait, but I got some shows before that we're doing. If I don't know where, but which is your favorite production or favorite show that you were in? If you had to pick one of those shows that was like, I know it's tough.
There's so many.
I know.
So it's just. For a long time, West Side Story was my most favorite. And I waited actually, I think because I had a national tour of that and had to give it up. I had back surgery. I was dancing in a show called Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and I don't know what I'm doing. And I basically really did bad damage to my back. And as I was doing that show, I was getting ready to do the national tour of West Side Story, and I had to have back surgery, and it pulled me from that. So when years later I got to do West Side, it just meant that much more. So that's one of my favorites. Really, Forever Plaid will always have such a special place in my heart, because that's a story about 4 guys that were considered sort of losers. They were the underdogs, and they got their moment, on stage, and we loved that, and the audiences loved us.
Any chance of bringing that back?
Well, the second time I brought it back, we did it at the Gold Coast, and I remember the reviews at the time saying, these guys are getting too old to be doing this show. So I don't think I'll ever be invited back, which I just think is funny too. We're too old, but we're playing 4 dead guys. So I don't know, I guess now there's a time when you're now too old to play a dead guy. So I don't know. I've wanted to do even just a concert. It would take so much to have something like that done, that my dream is that I would love for us to do a concert and just tell people, like, we couldn't say that we were going to do it, but wouldn't it be fun to just invite people to come and find out what the surprise concert would be, and then make it a concert of Forever Plaid music?
Yes, that would be.
Let's put that on our list.
And we could probably sell it as a concert or whatever
a concert
you want
you don't want to miss.
A concert you don't want to miss.
Or something, yeah.
Or a surprise, a secret show.
Exactly. That would be fun.
That would be, and we'll talk about that. I got 12 dates for next year.
Okay, good.
So I'm sure we can squeeze one of them in there.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. If you were talking about your back and that hurt, I remember you had a heart attack, and I remember the story that I heard, and you'll tell us, but the whole story. But it was something like he had a heart attack, but he had some shows coming up, and he was being wheeled out and on a cell phone calling Vegas to make sure they got the stuff together or whatever. Why don't you tell him?
I was in Abilene, Texas, and I was doing the Philharmonic concert in Abilene, and I was in rehearsal, and the weird thing is that I was having a heart attack, they said, for about 5 or 6 hours, and it was a heart attack on the Widowmaker, so it could have been quite nasty. I mean, I guess it was nasty, except for I'm still here talking about it, so it wasn't that bad. But I just had this pain, and it just kept going on, and I was convinced it was not a heart attack, and I ended up going through, and I kept singing. Then I brought myself back to the hotel for a while, and I napped, and then I thought I better unlock the door in case somebody needed to come in. And I thought, well, I'm thinking that I better get to some help. So I went to urgent care. They said they couldn't take care of me there. They sent me to the emergency room of the hospital, which was a remote emergency room. And there they did some tests. They realized I was in the midst of having a heart attack, and it was a bad one. And so they called an ambulance in, and they had to race me across town. Thank God they had a cardiac hospital, or a great unit in this hospital there. Make a long story short, when I was in there, of course, first thing I did was my partner's a doctor, so I put him on the phone first with the doctors, and they explained all that. Then I got my phone back, and I'm in the ambulance. They're rushing me through, and I was texting with Rhonda Carlson at the time, who was going to play piano for 3 shows that we were doing at Christmas time for the Vegas Voice. And I thought, I'm having a heart attack. I probably won't be able to do these shows. So I'm texting Rhonda, I said, I'm having a heart attack. Please find a replacement for the 3 shows next week. And Rhonda looked at it and turned to her husband, Kevin, and said, Bruce is being kind of dramatic. I guess he's feeling stressed, but he's saying, I'm having a heart attack. And Kevin said, if Bruce is saying he's having a heart attack, he's probably having a heart attack. But that's what I did. I spent my emergency, the ride going to the hospital, just making sure I got my gigs covered, because it was Christmas time, and you don't want to leave anybody out. But thank God I was out of the hospital, and 2 days after that, and that next Saturday night, I think it was at McDonald Ranch maybe that we were doing the show, and I got to sit in and watch the guys do it.
That's right. I remember you were
in the audience.
Yep.
So
talking about that, don't you have a Christmas show at McDonald Ranch for the Vegas Voice coming
Saturday,
up?
December 4th, I think, the first Saturday of December. And again, we're just going to have a great time. And what I love to do at Christmas time is just hit as many of the old standards, but we like to share stories and just have fun with what Christmas is, and just bring up memories for all of us, and just have a great time with not just Christmas, but with all the holidays that we celebrate in December.
One other thing before we leave. You've got a cruise, a Vegas Voice type cruise. Explain that. Yeah,
so Fat Pack is another show that we put together here in Las Vegas, and we've had such a good time doing it. We were named one of the best all-around performers here in Las Vegas, and we love doing it. But unfortunately, with my heart attack, I wasn't able to keep the business end of it going, so we sort of have let that show die. But we're bringing it back. We're going to go on a cruise with Vegas Voice magazine on March 20th to 27th, 2022. It's a great cruise. We're going to be up the California coastline. In the price of that, we're going to do 2 Fat Pack concerts. We're going to have a few social events, probably a karaoke time with everybody that wants to go with us and just hang out and have a great time. We're going to do some tours. But with that also, you get the premium beverage package, which doesn't mean anything to me because I don't drink, but I understand people do enjoy the cocktail. And then also everybody's going to get Wi-Fi. Tips are included. So it looks like a little bit of a hefty price, but it's really not when you think all of that's included in it. So, and it's going to be, we're going to have a great time. So please come out and have fun with the Fat Pack.
I know you are. Well, I really appreciate you coming down, spending some time with us today.
Thanks.
I hope we can get you back again soon, and maybe even get you back with some of some of your Fat Pack.
Absolutely.
And that's PHAT.
PHAT.
Yeah.
Fat Pack.
Yeah.
Like Phantom.
Bring
fat,
them in, and we'll be able to do maybe a whole thingamajig. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Let's do it.
But with that, I want to say thank you, Bruce Ewing.
Thanks.
And from the Vegas Voice, Evan Davis saying, see you next time.
Hello? Oh, hi there. Did you like what you just saw? Well, if you did, hit that subscribe button right down there, all right? And you're going to be able to get more new content from the Vegas Voice TV when it comes aboard. And while you're at it, why don't you read the Vegas Voice magazine? It's filled with so many articles, and especially the guy that makes you laugh on page 6.